Okay, so today we're going to be making this little flower, this tatted flower here. See if we can see that a little bit easier. This is a pattern that I personally developed myself, and this is it out in writing. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly explain this. If you do want to go ahead and just skip over this and actually get to the actual tatting, go ahead and get to whatever timestamp I put in post-editing. Cool. So starting off, these are two different ways in which we can read these types of patterns, okay? So we're going to go ahead and just start off with this top one. I have a little key up here and same with down here, featuring exactly what we are doing. So we can see the ring here, okay? So this is just a general ring. This is, what it usually encompasses for single shuttle tatting. This is a single shuttle tatted pattern, so it will only use just the single shuttle, okay? Single shuttle and thread. So we have our normal ring, which is made, as we are usually doing it with that single shuttle, like this, okay, as we are tatting along. So I have yet to fill my bobbin up completely, so we'll get to that in a moment. Today, I'm going to be using this thread here, which is weight 10, okay, you can see size there, 10, okay. I personally like this one just because it is kind of a nicer thread. You can use something like the bracelet thread from like girls camp and such, but I personally don't recommend it just because it kind of is a little fuzzy and you can't really see the patterns very well. In fact, this crochet thread here, my grandmother lent me. Let's get that black background. It's a little bit more fuzzy and you can't see the stitches as sharp as if you were, oh, let me get that out of the way, as if you were using a nice quality thread. So other things that I'm going to be using here today is this little crochet hook. This is a 0.5, which for me is way too small, but we'll struggle through because it's my only option. So there are shuttles with actual crochet hooks on the edge. I personally haven't used one before. I just use the traditional tatting shuttle, and that's completely fine. Either way. So getting back to this pattern here, what we're going to look at is what to do and how to read this. So starting off with that ring, okay, each ring on this is a flower petal, okay? So you can see that each one of these little flower petals is made up of a single ring. And so in total, we can see that there are going to be 8. So the optional part here creates those 3 in the middle here that you can see, versus if it was just the traditional 1 through 5, it would just come out to being like this, okay? So it just depends on your skill level and how you feel about it and what you want to tackle. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and read this. We can see that we have just a bunch of random numbers and dashes and stuff. So how we're going to read this is we see that, at least on this one, it actually shows us that, oh yes, this 3 is going to be a double stitch. On this pattern here, it doesn't exactly tell us that it's a double stitch, but we just kind of have to assume. So that 3 is 3 double stitches. So it's going to be technically 6 stitches in total, but you always pair up the double stitches because that's just, I don't know, the way that we do it. So we have those 3 double stitches, and then we have a picot. Now that picot, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but that picot is literally just a part of that next double stitch here, okay? So once again, we'll just get into it. It's a little bit easier to show you than just to verbally explain. Now, we will repeat this row here, right here, okay? From row 2 through row 4, okay? So that's going to be, say we started on this one, that's going to be row number 1 or ring number 1, sorry. And then we're going to do ring 2, 3, 4, and then this is going to be ring 5. Awesome. And so we can see that we're going to repeat this quite a bit. So we're going to have the 3 double stitches. We're going to join it. Once again, we're going to go through what that looks like, how to do that. Then we're going to have the 3 double stitches, a picot, 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches. Awesome. And then at the end here, we're going to change it up a little bit, and we are going to do 2 double stitches, that picot, 3 double stitches, picot, 2 double stitches. That just makes it slightly smaller in the middle so that it's not exactly crowded. You can just go ahead and do the 3. Oh, I am missing picot 2, so that it makes 4 always. Sorry about that. Awesome. And on this second one here, what we're going to look at is that key up here once again. So we have the ring, just like this top one here. We have that join, which is a J instead of a plus, and then that picot, which is a P instead of that minus. Then we actually do have what the DS is, that double stitch. Now it's assumed that you just kind of like repeat that, okay? So each number is going to be a double stitch. You just kind of have to know. It's just something that you're going to have to remember. So we have that 3 double stitches, a picot, 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches. Say that 10 times fast. And then we have our row 2 through 4, which is going to be 3 double stitches, a join, which we're going to get into. Once again, that's that plus up here, okay? And we're just going to go ahead and repeat that as usual, okay? So let's go ahead and get into this, yeah? So starting off, we're going to go ahead and look at our shuttle. Now, once again, if you feel like you just want to get it into it and you already have your shuttle already set up, go ahead and just fast forward to whatever timestamp I put in post here, okay? And really quickly, we're just going to go ahead and look at this shuttle here. So I'm going to unwind it slightly just so that you can see. Now, we can see that this thread is coming counterclockwise, right? You always want to wind your bobbin counterclockwise, okay? Starting off, personally, I like to do it off to the right side. So if we're looking, okay, how do we know which way is up, which way is down, whatever? This horn right here, so it could either be the horn or it could be the crochet hook. It depends on which kind of shuttle you have. I personally just have this traditional shuttle. So we can see here that it has a hole in here. You will pass your thread through that, okay? Tie it off, either like this, you know, traditional little knot like that. Or if you choose to, kind of like I did, I just went ahead and just did a little knot on the end. I just think that it makes it a little more tidy as we are winding this. And then we're just going to go ahead and wind that up, yeah? Okay. So, once again, this is going to be counterclockwise, but I personally hold it from the side. I usually have some pretty long nails, so I try to kind of get that off to the side here, okay? And we wind up like this, okay? So it's a little hard to see, but I'm passing that through each time. You can kind of hear a little bit of a click. Awesome. You can see that bobbin filling up. Okay, I'm going to pause the video real quick, and we're just going to completely fill up the bobbin, then we'll get into the actual tatting. Now that that's done, we're just going to go ahead and get some slack here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start with our first little bit. So once again, on this pattern, we're going to start with our 3 double stitches. Okay. I'm just going to leave this right over here just for reference. Okay. Beautiful. And we have our shuttle and thread. So personally, I like to make sure that my thread here, okay, is on the right side near the bottom like this, okay. It just kind of like helps me pass through all those picots and such. You'll get a feel for it, what you like, what you don't like, but this is just what I prefer, okay, to have on the side like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do my hold. So we're passing this over my hand, around, holding with my thumb, passing this around here, and holding that with my thumb off to the side, okay? So we have this end here with that tail, and then the shuttle end here wrapped around, okay? I'm gonna give myself a little bit more slack here with that beautiful sound. Yeah, love that. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually move this out of the way just for the sake of being able to see. And we're gonna go ahead and start. So I personally like to go ahead and do that. Whoosh around. Make sure that this top finger passes first. So once again, that's gonna be nice and easy like that. So passing the shuttle under and passing the thread under your first finger like that. Beautiful. And then we're gonna bring that down and we're going to go ahead and pass it under the thumb. Yeah, just like that. Okay, beautiful. So that creates the first part of our double stitch. So now we are going to go ahead and do our second part of that first double stitch, okay? Passing, make sure that it's under, okay? So we don't have our thread over our hand again like this, okay? We're gonna make sure that it's under. Personally, I like to hold it with these fingers here. You don't have to, it's personal preference. But then I go ahead and pass it under my thumb first, this thread here. I'm gonna pass it under my thumb, just like that, and then over this first finger, or under this first finger. And that creates, make sure that doesn't go around your first finger like that, our second half of that first picot. Yay! And if we did it right, we should be able to move this pretty freely on this line here, okay? Which I can. So when I'm adjusting, I move these two fingers here, okay? These are my kind of like slack fingers, okay? They are the ones who control that. So I just go ahead and place my thumb lightly on this, and I am able to adjust the tension. So I'm gonna get it where I like it. And we're going to go ahead and do our next two double stitches to complete that set of 3, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and do that here. So under, and then we're gonna go 1 half, and that creates our second double stitch. We can see that there, that's that 2. Then we're gonna under like that. So I unconventionally use my first finger to help move it down. I just find that I'm able to get some nicer picots that way. So now we are going to go ahead and do a picot, okay? So we have those first 3 done, okay? 1, 2, 3 double stitches, 3 sets like that, okay? And now on our pattern, we see that we are going to make a picot, okay? 3 double stitches, then the picot. So that picot belongs to the next set of double stitches, and I'll explain what that means. So we have those 3, then we're gonna start our next 3. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start our very first half of that first double stitch, and we can see that I am leaving some space. You can see that there. And that's what's gonna create that picot, okay? Leaving that space in between. So we have the 3 double stitches, a little bit of space, and we're gonna hold that with our thumb while we create our next bit, okay? Slide that down, and then this creates that beautiful little picot. So I'll show you here. And that is our first double stitch as well, okay? So you can see that little picot, that little round, okay? Okay, theoretically we should be able to see that a little bit better. Yeah, somewhat. Okay, yeah, so we have the 3 double stitches in that first of that second round with that picot in the middle. So we're gonna go ahead, make sure that's nice and slide it up there. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and make the last 2 of that round, okay, of 3, right there. Let's go ahead and try that. Okay, I'm gonna give myself some space. Oh, that happens sometimes. Beautiful. So now we have those 3, and this still moves freely. Beautiful. So we have 1, 2, 3, picot, 1, 2, 3. Just like we were told. 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches. 3, picot, 3. Now we're going to do another picot, 3, picot, 3. I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quickly here, and I'll tell you each time I do that. So we have the 1, 2, 3, picot, 1, 2, 3. We're going to create that next start of that picot, okay? So we have that little bit. Now we have our second picot in that first of the next round. Okay. Now we're going to go give myself some room. A little bit more room on this one too. So that's 1, 2. Three. Gonna create that next picot. Just like that, slide that down. Beautiful. Okay, and then that's that first double stitch. 2. 3. Okay, at this point, this is going to be our flower, our first petal of that flower, okay? Yep, so we got that 3, picot, 3, picot, 3. Make sure that there's total of 3 different picots, okay? Looks like that. Beautiful. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and slide this off my hands, and we can see this little ringlet. I'm gonna hold it right here on the edge and pull with this hand. And so that will bring this down. We're gonna keep adjusting until we can't really pull anymore. That'll get us our first little flower petal. So now we're going to go ahead and start our next section of this flower. So that's going to be our very first petal, okay? So once again, looking at our thing here, we did the 3 double stitch, picot, 3, picot, 3, picot, 3. So we can see those 3 little picots on the side there, poking out. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. Beautiful. Now that we've done that, we're gonna find the end of our tail here so we can see that it is held out like that, okay? Beautiful. We're going to hold this entire thing with our middle finger here, okay, and our thumb, bringing this thread out here so we can see how that's held, okay? Gonna bring that around, and once again hold that last little bit over here so we can see that's how it's going to be held, okay? Beautiful. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my shuttle, and we're going to start our next round. So this is going to be row 2 with 3, and then we're going to join. So 3 double stitches, join, 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches, picot, 3. Then we can see that same thing right here. So let's go ahead and try that, yeah? Beautiful. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of slack. Tuck under here like that, okay? We're going to start our very first. So what's important about this is that we get this very first double stitch as close to this center here as possible, okay? So as close to this center here. So we are going to go ahead and try that. Okay. So I am moving this down as close as humanly possible to that little end part to be as snug as possible. So we can kind of see that there, how that's going on, okay? I'm gonna hold that and create the second half of my double stitch, my very first double stitch here. Okay, that should be able to move pretty freely on that shuttle thread. Perfect, okay. So that's our very first double stitch here on, that's our very first double stitch here on that 3. Okay, let's go ahead and do that other 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and make that, we are going to do a join. So let's go ahead and look at that. We are going to do a join here. So what this join entails is that we are going to bring this thread here up through this little picot. So this is why it's handy to have a little crochet hook on hand. Oh, here comes my green thread. Okay, so I have this green, I have this crochet hook. It is a 0.5 millimeter, but it is way too small for this. But it's what I have on hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this through the eye of that picot. Going to whoosh this around and bring this thread through that eye of the picot. Might take me a couple tries. Give me one moment. Sometimes it helps to give a little bit of slack on this finger here, okay? I often grab individual threads with this. Awesome. And once that starts to come through, just like that, I like to place my thumb on the inside of this, just to keep it nice and straight. The slack on this one, this hand, this finger here, needs to be very small, okay? A little bit of slack, very little slack, okay? Or, a lot of slack on that. So that we can go ahead and pass our shuttle through here. And once that's done, we can go ahead and just pull that through again, and that tightens this up very nicely, just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and look at our pattern here. We just did that join, okay? Now we're going to do our 3, picot 3, picot 3, and I'll get back to you once that's done. One, 2, 3, Picot. 1, 2, 3, tension, Picot, part 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go ahead and close this up. So once again, we can see as that's closing up here, just like that. And that join right there. Okay, let's do our next one. Hold it like that. Around. And we're gonna rinse and repeat because this is 2 through 4. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. I like to have it at the end here. Just makes it nice and easy when doing our wishes and stuff. Okay. Beautiful. So once again, make that nice and close to that edge there. Just like that. As close as possible. Yep. It's going to be our very first Picot. 1. Our very first double stitch. 1. 2. Let's get that adjusted here. 3. And then we do our little join again. So we just did those 3. Gonna join to here. Oftentimes, I personally just actually put the shuttle in my mouth, or you can just place it on a surface. But if I'm just doing this, like, say, in the car, on my bed, on the couch, anything like that, I just put the horn in my mouth and just hold it like that. Then I'm gonna go ahead, make sure that this Picot is nice and big. Pass this through, just like that. Okay. Doesn't matter if it slips off the hand, you can always just re-put it. Then we're gonna just go ahead and place that shuttle in just through like that. Tighten it up. Make sure we can still adjust to where we want it to be, and continue to do those 2 more picots. There, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do a Picot. One, 2, 3, Now I did that picot a little big, so you can see that there. So I'm personally going to take that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this back up, pass my needle through here, crochet hook, I should say, and just adjust it down. Okay, so I got that picot to the right size that I want it to. I'm just going to bring this down again, slide that just like that. Yeah, that's a lot more manageable. You can always undo those stitches just to make them smaller if you want to, those picots and such. Just like that. Perfect. Gonna go ahead. That's our first. I'm gonna add that here. Okay. And we're gonna do our last 2 double stitches here. That's 1, or technically number 2 of that row here. And 3. Okay. Gonna go ahead, do this here. Make sure that closes nice and tight. And we started on our next one. One. Two. 3. After those first 3, go ahead and do a join. Just like that. Slide that up and down. Beautiful. And continue. One. 2. 3. Picot. 2. 3. Picot. 2. 3. And close. Beautiful. Next. No, I don't like how that has so much space in between, so let's see if I can show you that. Do you see that? All that space in between. So I'm gonna undo that, I'm gonna unpick that and just get that a little closer. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all human. And then we can bring that down a bit further. Just like that. Second half of that stage. Beautiful, that's much tighter. I like. This is going to be the very last row. The very last ring, I should say. Then we're going to tackle our final round of this first top section. We're going to do 3 double stitches, join, 3 double stitches, picot, 3 double stitches, join, and then the last 3. So let's go ahead and tackle that. So we are going to join both here and here. If we can see that. Here and there. So let's go ahead and get started like usual. First one as close as possible. Want that a little closer. Okay, as close as possible on this one. That's 1. 2. 3. Go ahead and join. 'And pull. Okay. One. 2. 3. 'Picot. Picot 1. 2. 3. Now we're going to do join. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky. Let me go ahead and just get that out. Beautiful. We're going to bring this over here, line it up how we want it to be. Okay. Like this. Go ahead and use that crochet hook to make that last picot just a little bit bigger so that we can easily pass that thread through, just like this. Beautiful. Go ahead and pass that through. At this point it looks a little strange. Do not fret. And we will continue through. Okay. Go ahead and just make sure that that's nice and open for your hand. Just let it hang there, okay? Okay. Now we're going to do our last 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we pull. Okay. Beautiful. Now you can see that that last row has been completed. Right there. You can see the 2 threads. These 2 you will connect at the very end. If you choose to move on to our next optional section, keep going along. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and tie these off and you will have that normal flower. So now we're going to go ahead and start this next section. We are going to find wherever that thread is coming up from, and we will start there. Make sure that everything's snug as you would like beforehand. This time around, we are going to just be doing a bunch of floating rings instead of adding them together with our joins. So we're going to do the 2 picot, 3 picot, 3 picot 2. So we're going to have 3 picots on each, coming out to be like this little flower here. So let's go ahead and get started. Once again, just hold this as you would, making sure that that thread comes out to the side here where you will have your shuttle. Okay. Go ahead and hold it on that middle finger once again, just like usual. And we'll begin. Starting off with our 2. Okay. Go ahead and make sure that this is on top, so you can see this is coming down nicely on top of that flower. Okay. Make sure it's nice and snug, as if we were making yet another petal, because we are. So that's going to be the first half of our double stitch. That's second half of our first double stitch. Beautiful. That's second one. Go ahead and make a picot. Just like that. So that's our one picot, okay, and our first of our 3. Two. 3. Picot. 1. 2. 3. Picot. 2nd double stitch. Go ahead and close up that leaflet. And then because these are free hanging, we are going to go ahead and just do, once again, the picots without any kind of joins, okay? So we have that first one. You can see that there with those 3 picots, and we're just gonna repeat that 2 more times. So that's that 1, 2, pick up 1, 2, 3, pick up 1, 2, 3, and then our last picot, 1, 2, and then that's our last 2. Okay. Go ahead and close. Okay. Now we're going to make our very last one. Okay, so that's 1. Finishing off. Finishing off here. 2. Just like that. Our last 2 double stitches. Now go ahead and pull once again for the very last time. And there you have it. Go ahead and cut your thread. I usually like to make it as long or longer than my starting thread, okay? Pass that through the middle, down through so that both of them are through the bottom. And then I'm able to use these to pull and form that flower shape that I like. At that point, you can go ahead and tie these together. And anywhere else that you feel needs it. So I'm going to pass this through that one and through the center again, just to make it nice and tight. Beautiful. And then position these as you like. There you have it. Beautiful little tatted flower.